And the military is not supposed to be used for ordinary law enforcement purposes. In D.C., he was talking about cleaning up the graffiti and, dealing with the blight of homelessness, which are obviously local, not federal issues. And he's trying to militarize our society, intimidate his political opponents. The whole idea of picking cities based on their partisan leadership is absurd. I mean, there are lots of Republican cities and towns struggling with crime. Everybody is across the country. Always. Crime has always been part of our history. And yet crime is down. In D.C., for example, it's at a 30-year low. It's down in Baltimore. It's down in Chicago. But the point is that in our system of federalism, the different branches of government and the different departments of government are supposed to work together. If Donald Trump thinks he's got some great ideas for Chicago or Miami or Houston, Texas, or whatever, he should call a summit for the White House and say, hey, here's some ideas where the feds can work together with states and localities, not have a series of rolling National Guard invasions of people's cities.
Also because the military serves a role to protect Americans, not to be used against Americans.
Exactly. You keep saying used against Americans. What kind of Americans do you mean? The ones that are murdering us, carjacking us, raping us, terrorizing our cities? I mean, you're saying like he's creating an actual war against American citizens when what he's actually creating is a war against criminals and, by the way, illegal aliens who they are rounding up by the bucket load in Washington.
I want to let Ellie speak, but I mean, look, I'm not saying he's creating a war against American citizens, but I also think that, first of all, when you have, large amounts of armed military personnel on the streets, they're going to encounter a lot of Americans who've done nothing wrong. And those Americans have rights, as do the Americans who have done things wrong, just to be clear. But Americans who have done nothing wrong will get caught up and have gotten caught up in this.
What we have to be clear about is don't take the bait. It boggles my damn mind that in the midst of a military takeover of our cities and the attempt to go into others, the flaunting of the rule of law, the cruelness and the unconstitutional nature of the way they're attacking our neighbors, that the press finds the need to talk about, oh, there's a division in the Democratic Party. There's a division in my damn house and we're still married and things are good. That's life. That's life. We are strong. We are strong because we challenge each other. We are strong because we're held accountable. We're strong because we believe that there's a place for everyone here. Think of how easy it would be to be a damn Republican. Oh, what should I wear today? This stupid friggin' red hat. What should I say today? I don't know. Just make sure it's cruel. Who do we listen to? That guy. Oh, the felon in the White House? Yeah, listen to him and that will be fine.
What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday and it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-host. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, everybody.
And Shelly E.
Hi, everybody.
Folks, we've got a full show tonight, but before we dive in, we have to pause and acknowledge the horrific shooting that took place in Minneapolis, Minnesota today. Our prayers, yes, our prayers, because personally, I know the power of prayer just like many of us do. So unlike the mayor of Minneapolis who, just poo-poos on praying, we're not going to do that because we know the power of prayer. Amen. Our prayers go out to each and every one who lost their life, who was injured, who was affected by this horrific shooting in Minneapolis, Minnesota. All right, and we're going to dive into that in a moment. Mm-hmm. We wanted to start the show with the backdrop of these leftists who don't care about our cities, who don't care about the violence, and they continue to breed chaos with their leadership. So we want to start off with that, but we want to get into this tragedy because it's not just about the headlines. The impact is real lives, and they raise serious questions about leadership, safety, and the direction of our country. All right, before we light this fire, do your part, folks. As you guys come in, tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We're live here on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Spotify or Apple Podcast. We love our chat. We shout out each and every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media doesn't want existing. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Let's get into this. As I mentioned, we are starting off tonight with this horrific Minnesota Catholic school shooting. The Minnesota Catholic school shooter has been identified, and a potential manifesto posted on YouTube by the shooter was discovered. As the Gateway Pundit reported, Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara confirmed that the shooter, a male in his early 20s, opened fire on children as they attended Mass at the school, killing at least 2 children and injuring 14 children and 3 adults. Police say he was armed with 3 guns, a rifle, a shotgun, and a handgun, and it appears to have been a targeted attack on Catholic churchgoers. We have the image there of this man. It was a trans man. So that did this, and want to take a look. This is a 5th grader detailing some of what they went through. This is clip 8.
What happened with him? Is he okay?
Yeah, I think he's gonna be okay. And then my friend, he was like laying on top of me, like making sure I was safe, and he got hit. So that was really brave of him.
And you have a nick on your neck?
Yeah, that was, I don't even know what it's from. Kind of looks like debris or something.
But that came from during this?
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You seem pretty put together here, but it's got to be tough.
Yeah, I'm just like confused.
Wow. So again, sources confirmed to Fox Minneapolis that the shooter has been identified as a 23-year-old man. According to court documents, at 17 years old, this man formerly had his legal name changed to a woman's name because docs state the minor child identifies as a female and wants her name to reflect the identification. The application for a name change of a minor was filed by the mother, and court granted the request in 2020. Shelley, what are your thoughts? First thoughts on this?
Yeah. Actually, when I heard this today, I was in my car and I just started crying for a couple of reasons. Mainly, of course, we had some children and some adults who were no reason at all, snuffed out, injured, critical condition. So that was number one. Number two, the mayor's comments. I'm going to say this. You may not agree with, may not like it. While I do not agree with what he said, I'm going to give him a little bit of grace, because in times like this, your first reaction and responses may not be all of that measured and tailored. I'm going to give him grace in that sense. I don't agree with it, but I can see how he may have said some things that sound so angry and vitriolic. I'm going to give him grace, and particularly in the immediate aftermath of having innocent people in his city, in the church, no less, in a mass, snuffed out. I'll give them grace in that sense. Number 3, I really, really don't like it when they put these cameras in children's faces, particularly immediately after an aftermath or a situation like this. Agreed. I think it's exploitative. I think it is. It's just not a moment of just showing some care, concern, and not honor, but acknowledgement, if you will, of the gravity of the situation. I do not agree with that. I'm not that little boy. He hasn't even processed, if you will, what happened. And these camera people, these journalists in the face, they're just trying to get the story. They're trying to get someone live feed on. It's like it's just no I don't even know what the word is. I hate that when they do that, particularly with young people, with children, immediately after something like this. So all of that went through my mind. Again, the victims, the families, the community, my heart goes out. Yes, my prayers as well, like KJ said. But there's so many things, feelings, absolutely feelings that the families and the immediate relatives are feeling, but there's so many emotions going through that community right now. Immediately after, I am at least willing to give people a little bit of grace until they can process it. That's just my opinion, and that's it.
Nicole, what are your thoughts there? Are you giving them grace as well? Or?
No.
No, me either.
No, I have no grace. No grace. In fact, I am sick and tired of praying over children who have been exploited, children who have been devastated. In this situation, children should be off limits.
Yep.
This is a 5th grader. He hasn't had a moment to process anything that has happened to him. He's repeating what happened to him as if it happened to someone else. This child's life has been changed forever, and you're trying to get a story. Oh, you got a nick on your neck. What? His friend got shot trying to save his life.
Exactly.
In a church where they were praying. I am sick and tired of praying for these people. I am sick and tired of asking the God to forgive them. I am sick and tired of it. I have had enough of our children having targets on their back. I have had enough, and I am sick to death up to here with this inept government who won't do the right thing, who won't stand on righteousness, and because they won't, our children are at risk.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm over that.
I'm pissed. I'm pissed. Folks, when I researched this story for today, the AP, many of the press are calling this nut a woman.
I know.
They are calling him a woman, number one. And number two, either they call him a woman or they don't mention the gender at all.
Right.
And it's disgusting because it's things like this is why we have this going on. They will not qualify and confirm mental illness.
Exactly.
They legitimize this crap. And then we have people doing stuff like this. Folks, let's talk about this transgender violence that is an epidemic right now. The suspect in this Minneapolis school was a transgender. We had this one. We had the Republican Party firebombing. That was gender fluid. We had the Nashville shooter, trans. Colorado Tesla arsonist, trans. Colorado Springs shooter, non-binary. Aberdeen shooter, trans. Denver school shooter, trans. Iowa school shooter, transgender fluid. AMC stabber, trans. Why are we still qualifying this nonsense? I'm sick of it. Tell the truth. This is what's wrong with this country. This is what's wrong with this world now. They're codifying this stuff.
Yep.
And the mother did this in 2020. She needs to be brought up on charges.
Absolutely.
Because he is sick. He has a mental illness. This trans crap is a mental illness, and we need to call it out. We need to call it out. I'm so sick of it. We have, again, we showed you at the top of the show, these leftists are out here, oh, we don't need National Guard. We're a sanctuary for transgenders. They're a sanctuary for the loony bin. I am so sick of it. I really am.
Me too. I'm right there with you. I'm 100% with you. And again, this is an absolute failure of government. When you take this very small minority of people and you ignore their absolute recklessness in our own communities, this is what happens.
Yeah.
People die. And you're like, oh, thoughts and prayers. I'm so sick of people sending thoughts and prayers. Can we pray like Jesus said with your feet? I need to see some action.
Fortify the schools, folks. Listen,
They don't do
Christians
that.
are under persecution. We get ignored. We talk about Jews. We talk about Muslims, everybody else, but nobody is looking out for the Christians, which is the number one persecuted group in the world, okay? And we need to fortify our schools. Do you know that this was the, third shooting in Minneapolis within the last 24 to 48 hours.
Yes.
There was another Christian school targeted 24 hours prior to this. I think that suspect is still at large.
And there was a shooting, I think, the night before. Like 6 people were
shot.
murdered.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we waiting?
It's a failure of government. It's a failure of the medical community, particularly related to this transgender. It's a failure all up and down. Parents as well. When they cater to this, kowtow to this. Again, to me, I'm going to just make it real simple. It's a failure of parents who want to, particularly parents who are afraid of their children and think their children are so, I don't know what the word is, that they can't be told no. That's it. As far as Christians and the church community, if you will, protect yourselves. Protect yourselves. You have zero. There is zero guidance, doctrine, principles, biblical statements that say that you cannot defend yourself. That's zero. That is a made up. That is a man-made thought, belief that's personified and practiced or whatever unnecessarily, and it puts not only you in danger, it puts other people in your facilities, in your care, in danger as well. Granted, that person, whatever he was, him, her, whatever, that person, that piece of shit, because I hate saying their names anyway.
I won't say his name.
That piece of shit is, whether he was mentally ill, crazy, which I believe he was, or he was a girl initially, right? No, he was a biological boy, a biological male. Okay, well, he was crazy. The parents, the adults around him, kowtow to it. Everybody wants to coddle. You can't call people crazy. There are crazy people. And not only that, there are evil people. And what he did was evil. The diagrams that I've been hearing about, that he had the manifesto, he had an agenda. He had an agenda.
Yeah.
He had a plan. This is called premeditated.
Yeah, but we have this clip here, clip 6 of this nut. Who doesn't know this thing is nutty? Look at this. And he wrote on all of the weapons, KILL Donald Trump. He came out against multiple Christians, I think Hindus. I think he said may have said something against Israel too. I mean, he's laughing in this video. Look at this.
Do you know
his mother didn't know that this nut is crazy? No, but this is what we are taught to do.
And wait, did he say anything about his father? Anybody?
No, I don't know.
But you know, the sad thing about it is when you watch the lamestream media, they're making excuses for him.
Right.
They're saying it's everyone else's fault that he was mentally ill.
Exactly.
That he felt outcast by the community. No, that's solely his problem, and his family should have done everything they could have done to prevent him from owning these things. It can't always be just the function of government. He lives in your house. You know your son's batshit. When your son comes downstairs and announces himself as a girl, you know you got big problems, honey.
Right.
You got big problems. Big problems.
Yes. If your child is a self-proclaimed transgender, get them help.
Right.
Get them help.
And not the gender affirming kind.
Exactly.
And not the gender affirming
But
kind.
this is what the left tells. They're making sanctuaries. These people have to be protected. Who's going to protect us?
Who's going to protect our children?
Exactly.
If a child can't be safe in the church, where can they be safe?
Exactly.
Where can they be safe?
Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And again, you have the left that are creating this heightened environment of violence. You saw what he had on there about President Trump. They make us out to be villains and all types of they take away our humanity. And then you have people who do things like this. It's really infuriating. It's very infuriating. And our schools need to be fortified. That is it.
I'm
what is
for that.
going on?
I have been for that for a long time, getting armed security in the schools, every damn public school, certainly every private school or parochial school. But that's where I want my taxpayer dollars to go. Yes. If you're going to use our taxpayer dollars, use it to really protect innocent life, the school children, and get every damn federal building 24/7. Nobody's even working. You got armed security in there. Why? Why? We need our children. We need our churches. Churches, you are capable of hiring your own protective services and using it. Yes, you can. Please do so. Get your parishioners armed. I'm not saying that those children in there may have been, should have been. I'm not saying that. But they could have been better protected. And this piece of shit walking, all of you, from the mother, the father, the medical community, and I really hone in on the medical community, because this group has exploited parents and children to the utmost. People that go to them for trust and information and treatment, they have really exploited young people and their families to the nth degree with this trans shit. If you are a boy, you have a dick. If you are a girl, you have a vagina. Okay, that's just it. And now in the last 10 years, all of time has been flipped upside down, and now we're having like the stats like you're giving, KJ.
Well, you knew once they took it out of the DSM and they stopped making it a mental disorder, that it was going to be a problem. And psychiatrists around the country said, this is what we can anticipate. This is absolutely what we can anticipate, and we're living what they said in this moment. The thing that makes me angriest, though, is when I talk about the lack of good governance. We value the wrong things, right? They value this particular mentally ill subset of people enough to make a sanctuary for them. What about our children in our communities? Where do we get our sanctuary from the mentally ill? It is not debatable whether or not these people are in a mental crisis. If you were born a boy and you think you're in the wrong body, honey, something's wrong here. Something's wrong here. You need to work it out. Back in the day, I hear tell they had these beautiful places where you could send your mentally ill people and let them get worked out. They'd live on the premises. I get the ACLU said, it's a little harsh because men were locking their wives up for whatever reason. We swung the pendulum so far to the opposite direction. Our children are now targets. We've got to change the way we do business, folks. If this mother could not handle this mentally ill child or young man, this person should have been put in a place where he was not going to be a harm to himself or anyone else.
And I don't even think it's a situation where parents are just scared of their children. This is something that they are affirming, folks. They are creating, they are cultivating this paranoia, this insanity. We're seeing that. You saw in the report, the police are saying that the mother took him to get the license and everything changed. I mean, lock her up too. And there's multiple. I know people like this. They are, and the child is young. This man was an adult. You have ones that are doing this to young children, and they and people just turn their heads. We cannot, no more pronouns. We cannot continue to let them tell us you got to use your pronouns. And I'm not going to call you a man, a woman, and a woman a man.
Right. I'm not going to participate in your delusion. Absolutely not going to participate in your delusion. And more importantly than that, when we talk again about good governance, we need our government to be reflective of the will of the people.
Exactly.
We don't, as the people, get dictated to the will of our politicians. That is the opposite of the way it's supposed to happen. We need to elect people who believe what we believe and are going to stand on it when they get to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, that's why
stand on it.
That's exactly why. A lot of people were surprised at the overwhelming support President Trump received in this last election. Well, there were so many people who were voting on one issue vote. It was a one issue vote for many people. And for me, this was this trans agenda. I mean, it was way up there on my thermometer, of alarming. And, Kamala Harris, none of the other politicians were speaking out against it like President Trump. And we saw that he came into office and he went right to it on the Title IX and things like that. We need to go even further.
Absolutely.
We have to
reclaim our culture.
Yes.
We knocked doors the Saturday before the election in Philadelphia. And we had the palm cards, like a postcard, that talked about funding transgenderism in prisons. Now, we're knocking in North Philly, right? So there's some folks who've been to prison before. So when we're handing out the cards, the look on these people's faces, now we're behind the Democrats. They've been knocking there for maybe 2-3 weeks. We came in and they were like, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And they called them all kind of filthy names. I'm not doing that. I don't want that in my community. That's not a part of our community standard. We're not going to start doing that. There was a culture uprising that was happening that the mainstream media didn't cover.
Of course.
They didn't see it coming. We called all young men toxic because they didn't bow down to girls and women. Then we called women who wanted to just be traditional women toxic. Right? And then anybody who disagreed with us was either a fascist or a racist. You know, I've been so many ifs, it's hard to keep track of. But now we've gotten to the point where President Trump is back and the culture is kind of swinging back in the other direction. This is huge, though. This is a huge thing because they have the AMA on their side. They have, you know, doctors and psychiatrists in their pockets.
Yep.
It's going to take a lot to turn it around. But I tell you guys, the midterms are coming. You must vote in your midterm elections. You have to vote. We have to get the people who believe in this foolishness out of these seats and only put in people who walk the talk.
Yeah.
Only put in people who believe what we believe and stand on it.
You're absolutely right, Nicole. Folks, we want you guys to sound off. I know we have a couple super chatters here. Let's hear it. Thank you all so much for your support. As you come in, hit that like button. We have over almost 800 people watching. We need you to hit the like button. We want this to get out to a wider audience. And when you hit the like button, that gets us in front of people. So thank you so much. Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat says, hello, Pop and Politics family. This is going to be off the chain with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. All right. Stewart's mom with the $10 super chat says, love and appreciate you ladies more than you'll ever know. Any man who wants to remove his penis belongs in an institution until they can make him right. Absolutely.
Without question.
Deborah.
All right. Thank you, Deborah. That's amazing.
Thank you so much for joining our Freedom Seekers Club. Great way to support the channel. And we also provide different perks for our members. So thank you so much. All right. So again, folks, we started off tonight. We are fired up and it's just going to get hotter here. So please, as you all come in, hit that like button. Want to change gears a little bit, you know, with you, like you said, I'm talking about the midterms, talking about, you know, us being Americans and needing to stand up for our country, for our values. We want to move on to our unapologetically American segment. So this is a segment where basically we call out different news where someone is being unapologetically American because we love it. We love it. And so in this, we're going to talk about Cracker Barrel. So what can be more American than Cracker Barrel? Okay. And people have spoken. Cracker Barrel decided to keep the old logo. Okay. So, on Tuesday, Cracker Barrel thanked its customers for speaking up and said, our new logo is going away and our old timer will remain. This image 1 shows the announcement, that they gave. And then this is image 2 showing the old logo, and the proposed new logo. So people, Americans who love Cracker Barrel stood up and said, no way, we don't like your new branding. This is the CEO talking about the branding prior to them deciding not to change it. This is clip 1.
Honestly, the feedback's been overwhelmingly positive that people like what we're doing. I'll give you another soundbite. I actually happened to be in Orlando last week with all of our managers. We bring them together and every other year. And the number one question that I got asked, Michael, was, how can I get a remodel? When can I get a remodel? How do I get on the list?
Oh, really?
So because the feedback and the buzz is so good, not only from our customers, but from our team members. They want to work in a wonderful restaurant. So we're doing everything for our guests and our team members.
Well, Julie Messino, it's wonderful to have you here.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you for answering those questions for all the Cracker Barrel fans out there. There's a lot of great changes.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Robin?
Can I get in writing that the peg game is going to stay?
The peg game is staying.
Okay.
So are the rocking chairs, fireplace, vintage decor. It's all there.
All right. Okay, because that would be a deal breaker. That would be a deal breaker.
All right. So another woke CEO got a wake-up call. No, we don't want your change. We don't want your modernization. We want what we want to stay the same. Unapologetically American Cracker Barrel. Okay. And speaking of unapologetically American, this is our shirt. We have a shirt here, merch shirt, that just says it. We are unapologetically American, and we don't want your woke crap. We want traditional America. We're going to say it loud and proud. So we don't want to change. And folks, if you're an unapologetic American, this is the shirt for you. Check it out from our merch store right on the YouTube page and get your unapologetically American shirt. All right. But Shelly, what are your thoughts?
Okay. I'm going to give grace again to that CEO. I'm giving grace tonight. Yes, Shelly is. Number one, I love Cracker Barrel. I actually went there today because I wanted to show my support for them, that I was not angry, but I was glad that they made the change back or going to remain the same. So I made sure when I walked into the store, nothing was changed, at least in the location where I had gone to. What I didn't quite understand from the CEO, when she said the managers were asking for remodel. Well, a remodel is not changing the logo necessarily. They want remodel of the decor, bring it up to date, whatever that means. Okay, so I thought that was a little sleight of hand to me. However, I went to Cracker Barrel today. I bought couple little things from the Old Country store. And again, the people there were excited. The customers, they were talking to the employees, asking, what went on this week, whatever. And the employees were so gracious. They was like, we changed it back. We changed it back. And that's what I love. I'm giving them grace because they're a private business. They tried a marketing idea and immediately it failed. And immediately they corrected themselves. That's why I'm going to give them the grace. They didn't try to keep, stringing it on and throwing it in our faces. They immediately corrected course, and that's why I still support Cracker Barrel.
All right. And so Nicole, was this an actual course correction, or was this them trying to go woke? Was this them trying to push the culture, trying to bring it up? They don't want an old white man on the logo, so they want to make this sort of woke, get rid of him, get rid of the barrel, and make it woke.
Well, yes, absolutely. This was the CEO saying, it's time to rebrand. I've had enough of the Old Country man leaning up against the barrel.
Right.
The name of the damn chain is Cracker Barrel.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if you want to work at a 4-star restaurant, there are plenty of 4-star restaurants to work at. Cracker Barrel is supposed to be homey and country, and stuff has gravy and is fried. You know what I mean? It's home cooking food. So changing the logo to something nondescript just doesn't work. I think maybe she was feeling some kind of way about that young Nigerian man who took over Red Lobster. She wanted to come in and put her mark on it too. But there's certain brands in this country that you can't rebrand without pushback, and Cracker Barrel is one of those things.
Yeah, the reversal came just hours after President Trump weighed in on Truth Social, saying it should go back to the old logo and make Cracker Barrel a winner again. And he meant it. I mean, they had their stock dropped after
significantly. That was
right.
That was
12% last week. Shares of the restaurant rose about 7% in pre-market trading following the news. So this was a huge difference. I mean, the shares rose again 8% today after the restaurant chain said it would scrap its new logo.
I'm surprised she still has a job.
Yeah.
Because that could have been absolute ruin. The woke people generally don't eat Cracker Barrel. That's not what they do with their lives. Maybe Starbucks.
Woke people get hungry while they're on the road too. Damn it, they don't.
They're going to keep driving until they get to a IHOP.
Waffle House.
Girl.
Yeah.
Well, at least Waffle House comes with entertainment.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But Cracker Barrel is usually you see families, people who are traveling on the road, people who want to just go in and grab some snacks or something like that. This is not a place for woke. If you want to be woke, again, 4-star restaurants. That Jose Andres had a lot to say about President Trump, and he has 4-star restaurants around the nation. He has a restaurant at the National Harbor, and he had a lot to say. That's where you go if you want to be woke. You can go where it's dimly lit.
And I was just saying, people want, Cracker Barrel again is that whole kind of Americana feel. And so again, this is why this is our unapologetically American segment, because people said, no, we don't want you woke. We want to stay unapologetically American, unapologetically Cracker Barrel. Keep the cracker in the barrel.
That's the reason. The reason I'm going to give them a grace is because when the stock went down significantly, I think it was like $95 million in one day.
98 million.
They immediately course corrected, and I'm going to give them grace because unlike other companies, Bud Light, Target, other ones you want to name, they continue to try to push it in our faces.
Right.
I will say again, the grace that I'm giving is that at least Cracker Barrel, they were very responsive to their audience. They didn't carry it on and like a whatever.
Right.
They were very responsive, and they course corrected. I'm okay with giving people grace for course correction.
Cracker Barrel is far different than Target.
And that logo, the logo they did.
Target has always been woke.
But the one thing I didn't like about the logo, I did not like, is that to me, if you want to use woke, fine. They were trying to be woke without being woke.
Right.
It was kind of this androgynous feel to it.
Yeah.
So
It was ugly. It was plain. It was
just like, and that's what they were. I think they were going for was just like flat.
Yes,
just flat. But I agree with you, Shelley. They did course correct, and that is important because a lot of other companies did double down on dumb. Target, for example.
Bud Light,
Bud Light, for another example.
Exactly. I'm not giving any. Folks, I'm tired. I guess we've kind of changed positions. I am tired of giving these people grace, giving these people the benefit of the doubt. We got to understand these people have an agenda, folks. They are at war with us. I hate to say it. I hate to come across like this. And I wasn't like this maybe 2 years ago. But after seeing how they're talking about our cities, as we're trying, as President Trump and the administration are trying to clean up the cities, even removing graffiti, getting the crime out of these cities. They're pushing back, calling him a racist. They know what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And
it's by design.
It's by design. And so we have to be just as strong and intentional with our pushback
and engaged.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Call them out.
Right. We have to be engaged. One of the things that, if I could say that the conservative movement has been over the course of maybe the last 5 or 6 years, is disengaged. I mean, everybody's got strong opinions. Everybody's a keyboard warrior. But when it's time to put the rubber to the road, to speak truth to power, where are we?
Right.
We have to get engaged. We have to get engaged.
We do. And we need our mama bears. Folks, if you're a mama bear, hit that like button. I certainly am. And that's what got me fired up behind this stuff, because guess what? A lot of this woke crap that these leftists push, it affects our children in a major way. They are unfortunately, they get the brunt of this stuff.
Right.
And so we got to call it out and we got to put a stop to it. We have some super chatters here. Thank you all so much. Let's see here. All right. We have Diane.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you, Diane. All right. The Scrabbing Beauty. Hey.
Thank you.
With the $10 super chat says Dems are creating monsters to go after Catholics first because we don't want babies to die, and it's going to get worse for other Christians, Jews, etc. Yeah, it's crazy. JT Thompson, 2 months of stellar material, ladies. Happy to be a supporter. Thank you.
Thank you, JT.
All right, Gail with the $10 super chat says need cameras in parking lots outside schools.
Absolutely.
Very good point.
I think they do have.
Yeah. LW with the $5 super sticker. We appreciate you. Chadwick with the $5 super chat says, help us, family. Poppin' Politics. It's on its way to 200,000 by September 1st. Help us get it done. Like, share, and subscribe. Yes, folks.
Yes, let's
go. Way to go. We got a big way to go, but we can do it with your help. We are on to have a goal to hit 200,000 subscribers by Labor Day. Share this broadcast. Like it so we can get it out in front of more, and subscribe. Yes,
subscribe.
Absolutely.
We got another one right there.
Yes. Kung Fu CJ.
Kung Fu
says, okay, Shelly about to lose the junkyard dog status.
Listen, Shelly came back from her little time off all zen and happy.
Yes. D. Suri with the $10 super chat says, I'm surprised they didn't take Cracker out of the title. Oh, okay. I don't know where the origin story of that.
I don't either.
Is that the type of barrel?
I think I don't know exactly, but something to do with that barrel, and I guess historically it was like country. You play crackers and games and stuff on the barrel, things like that.
Okay.
I don't know, something like that, but I don't know the exact history.
I don't know. They have good pancakes.
Oh my gosh, I just said
let's
that.
just say that.
And I'm not a pancake eater, but
Me
their
neither,
pancakes
but their
are
pancakes
good.
are
They're
fire.
crispy.
And I like to go when we would go and you go through the little store in the front.
Oh, I love the store. That's where I went today.
Yeah,
That's where I went today.
Knickknacks and stuff.
Some gorgeous earrings.
I spend money there too much. I like the little nostalgia things.
Right.
Yeah.
Unapologetically American.
Absolutely.
Folks. Get your shirts.
Absolutely.
All right, so we are moving right along. So the next half of this show, folks, we are putting our boots on the necks of Democrats.
That's
all right. We are Derek Chauvin every last one of them. So let's get into it. This next clip is of Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson repeatedly dodging questions and not answering whether or not more cops on the streets of Chicago would make it safer. And guess who's actually pressing him? Morning Joe, of all places. I am very surprised. This is clip 3.
Would you also like to get federal funding to help put 5,000 more cops on the street in Chicago? Would that help drive down crime?
Well, look, policing by itself is not the full strategy.
No, I understand that. You've talked about the other things you want, and I said those are good and important programs, but I'm asking also, would 5,000 more police officers on the street in Chicago be helpful to go along with all of those social programs that a lot of cities are engaging in and having success with?
Well, look, here's the best way I can put it, Joe, is that in the 90s when I was in high school, we had 3,000 more police officers and we had 900 people being murdered every single year in Chicago. It's just not policing alone. Of course, we want more detectives.
I know it's not policing alone, but I know it's not policing alone. You've told me everything else you want. I'm curious, and this does come down to an ideological difference between people. Do you believe that the streets of Chicago would be safer if there were more uniformed police officers on the streets of Chicago?
I believe the city of Chicago and cities across America would be safer if we actually had, affordable housing. Look,
okay,
I'm not saying that
that's not the question I asked. My question is, and I just need a yes or a no, do you believe the streets of Chicago would be safer if you got all of those other extraordinary programs put back into place, which do have a history of being successful, if that's complemented by having 5,000 more cops on the streets of Chicago?
I don't believe that we should narrow it down to just police officers, Joe, is what I'm saying. That is an antiquated approach. I'm saying we've invested in detectives.
Mr. Mayor, are you hearing what I'm saying? I'm agreeing with you that all of these other social programs are extraordinarily important. I just need a yes or a no, and then this will be the last time I ask. If you get all of those other social programs that 800 million that New York City does, Los Angeles, other people do with great success, would an additional 5,000 cops on the streets in Chicago help complement those programs to make Chicago safer?
Look, we are working hard to make sure that our police department is fully supported. I don't believe that just simply putting out an arbitrary number around police officers is the answer.
Wow. Folks, let me say this, and I'm particularly talking to Black Chicagoans. They don't care about you. Mm-hmm. Black lives do not matter. The man was literally asked at least 4 times. He would not answer because they don't want to cure crime. They don't want the crime to come down. They want chaos so you can be dependent on them.
Absolutely.
That was embarrassing. Shelley.
This, folks, Brandon Johnson, that is the face of privilege. Black people, that's what you call privilege. Privilege that only cares about remaining in power, does not, like KJ said, does not give a damn about the people of Chicago, let alone black people. They don't care. He does not want to put police on the streets because he doesn't believe in police. He wants to defund police. And you know who's going to get hurt the most? You, black people, primarily. You, your communities, your children, your relatives and loved ones. You're the ones who are going to be snuffed out, primarily by other black people, and the police are not going to be there. But guess what? Brandon Johnson and that damn peak in the middle of his head that I want to just walk on, literally, that damn peak in the middle of his head will have your taxpayer funds to protect him and his family in the Chicago, the mayor's mansion or whatever you want to call it there. He's going to have it everywhere he walks in Chicago, from the lake to the south side, the north. He's going to have your money while you are having funerals every damn week, and you have to contact your insurance and find all the death certificates. That's what's going to be happening, because the Brandon Johnsons of the world, even I'm going to say the Westmores, and to a degree the Brandon Scotts and the Newsoms and whomever else, they don't give a damn. All they want to do is stay in power at your dead family members' expenses.
Yeah. Nicole, why didn't he want to answer? Why didn't he want to answer?
He couldn't answer. You know, the Democrats had their summer meeting, and out of that summer meeting comes talking points about important questions like this. They had no answer. So he has no answer. He would have been better off, Shelley, you're right, by saying, listen, 5,000 more cops on the street makes Chicago safe. It makes black and brown communities safer, especially black and brown communities. But he couldn't say that because Democrats can't decide whether they're pro-crime or anti-Trump.
Exactly.
They are leaning so hard against the president that they're leaning against the American people. It is difficult to fathom that there's a whole political party in this country that is actually pro-crime. Wow. That actually wants crime and criminality. They don't want us safe. They don't want our children safe. They want our communities, 100 rapes a year, that's not really bad. 200 murders, we can get along with that. I mean, you're in the city.
It's coming down.
You should expect that, and it's a 30-year low, but there's still 500 people dead. I know. What the hell?
What's wrong with y'all?
Yeah. They don't hear themselves talking.
No, it's lead in the water.
They don't.
It's lead in the water because y'all got to be lead poisoned to believe this man. You have to be. You have to be poisoned. You have some mental issue to believe this man. It literally doesn't make sense.
We were talking about exploitation. This is how politicians, the Brandon Johnsons of the world, exploit their demographics, their population. Because you know what? They exploit their trauma. They exploit their need, if you will. They exploit the fact that they want to be safe. People want to be safe. Of course you want your people to live and thrive. But they exploit all of those vulnerabilities only to their benefit, to keep themselves in power, and they get paid. They are getting paid with your money, and they are literally telling you that they're not going to protect you. You pay them to make you ass out.
Yeah, right. Not only do you pay, it's not funny, but it's funny. Not only do you pay them to not protect you, but then they bankrupt the schools.
Exactly.
The children are getting dumber. The Democrat Party literally is creating modern day slaves who can't read, who have no protection. I mean, they are literally creating modern day slaves. And then all of a sudden they blame racism on everything.
Exactly.
That brings us to this thick-tongued bitch.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. I couldn't even. This video made me so upset.
Angry.
Tiffany Cross. She's back, folks. I don't even know why they brought her back. She was on MSNBC and she got fired.
Right.
What did she say? What did she say on MSNBC?
I gotta look it up.
She said something so outrageous.
And she still
she said something outrageous too.
And she got fired for that. So now they bring her back as a pundit on CNN with Abby Phillips, who is she's the new
is starting to get on my nerves
Joy Reid. Okay, and she is just so nasty. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 4. Oh, do we have that?
We are not.
Okay, here we go.
Really quickly, Abby, because anytime that we play something from Stephen Miller, it would be journalistic integrity to point out that he is a white supremacist and he is the brainchild behind this policy. That's not my opinion. That's actual facts. And for him to purport lies from the Oval Office as a white supremacist,
I don't know.
it should be pointed out.
Look, listen,
it's reporting. Washington Wall Street Journal's own reporting.
I want to address what
I think the reason why you may feel that way, Arthur, is because you maneuver in society with a certain privilege. The question is, who are these?
Well, hold on, what privilege? When I get on the subway, just tell me the privilege. When I'm dressed like this on the subway, I am a target. That is not a privilege. I'm a target. There's the guy who probably has a wallet and a watch.
Arthur, I want you to be
That's not
open.
privilege.
I want you to have a little bit of intellectual curiosity and be open and let me finish my point.
I'm very curious.
Thank you. I think when you ask the question, who is the militarized law enforcement there to protect and who are they there to protect from? And so often in this country, particularly, that is how law enforcement swelled their ranks. There was so much violence against people of color, black people in particular in this country, that they said it's okay to beat a black person, to murder a black person, but you gotta be wearing a badge when you do it.
Who are the victims?
Do you want to listen or do you can't talk and listen at the same time?
Well,
let me just tell you. It doesn't sound like it. My point to you is I am telling you on the front lines what is happening. And there are militarized police force going in harassing longtime law-abiding citizens of Washington, D.C. And so when we, who are probably a little more familiar with American history perhaps than you, look at the military turning the police force on its own people, we remember the examples like Tulsa, when law enforcement dropped bombs on its own community. We know what it is like to have people.
We're far from that, though.
We are not so far. We are not so far from that. We are not so. We are actually not so far from that.
Hang on. We need to bring some numbers into.
She kicked him in his balls throughout that entire diatribe. The man is a eunuch right now, okay? She was so nasty. She's a nasty, racist woman. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to say something. I'm repeating what I said before. They got a wrong black women on that panel. Or actually, they need more black women. Because that bitch, I wanted to be sitting next to her. And had she even, this little patronizing stuff, they would have to cut the cameras, KJ. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. We would have kept rolling.
I would not have given grace in that moment. First of all, I can't stand to be patronized like that, number one. She was so condescending, number two. He should have turned to her and just said something, whatever. She called the man a white supremacist, Stephen Miller, as a journalistic fact. What journalistic fact and integrity is somebody a white supremacist? This bitch, I'm serious, I would have upset that table. I probably would have been taken out of handcuffs. She's so damn condescending and about history. No, bitch, let me tell you something. Black men are primarily being killed and murdered, maimed in cities across America. Black people are, black men in particular. Yes, by other black people, unfortunately so. That's number one. What militarized police? They're coming to clean up. D.C. has been cleaned up for the most part, 2 weeks or so, over almost 1,000 people, and yes, many of them were illegals collected off the streets. Go to D.C. now, and you probably won't see people shitting down by whatever 14th Street or whatever the streets are.
Union Station.
Right. So what is she talking about? These people, her privilege. You had the privilege, Tiffany Cross. You had the privilege to sit at that damn table. And Abby Phillip, you know what? I like your little personality, but you know what? Wait a minute, I did. I'm beginning to see, or have begun to see, that it's quite phony. It's phony, and you are so pathetically fake and plastic. You sit there and you want to pretend that you are this, this balance, whatever. You're full of it. I'm serious. I wish I was in that seat next to the author, whatever his name is, that attorney. I would have said, as a matter of fact, if I was there, KJ, Nicole, if I was on the other side, I would have had to get up. So, excuse me, can I trade seats with you? Oh my gosh.
She was infuriating. She really was. And I would have just said, first of all, you need to shut your fat tongue up. Her tongue is way too big for her mouth.
She's got
hear her. You hear her, right? She's got a fat tongue is way too big for her mouth. I don't understand why she's on TV. What are your thoughts, Nicole?
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the modern Democrat Party personified. Listen, she thinks she's well educated.
Yes.
She thinks she's well spoken. And listen to her talk down to this man who was trying to make a point. No, your opinion's not valid.
Yes.
Of course, you're a man, but let me tell you, as a woman, I know more than you do. And oh, by the way,
You're a white man.
you're not only a white man, you're a very white man. You're extremely white. And that makes you well less than I am. By the way, I might be wrong, but you're definitely not right. Do you know what I mean? Like, she left no room for conversation, no room for argument, wouldn't let him get a word in edgewise. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the modern Democrat Party for you. They value certain black women, and they push them up front and say, all hail the queen, and bow down. And men had better stop this toxicity of trying to answer the question that was asked to you when I'm sitting next to you and I want to answer your question. They didn't even ask her the damn question. It was his question. Yeah. When you see this happen in front of your face, yes, it's infuriating. Yes, it makes you want to pimp slap her across the face and say, listen here, heifer, it was my question. Please be quiet until I finish my answer. But what I saw was the personification of the Democrat Party. This is the reason why Trump kicked their ass. This is the reason why JD or Marco Rubio, I don't know which one it's going to be, is going to just clean the floor. But they're going to get mollywopped if this is the best that they have.
I pray this is the case.
And I hope Stephen Miller sues the shit out of her.
Stephen Miller he's part of a minority class. He's Jewish. Right. How can he be white supremacist and he's Jewish? They just had a clip of him. What was it, last week? We talked about it on this show.
The white hippies.
Right. Talking about how these Democrats in DC are not protecting the black class there because it's a predominantly black city. And he was talking about how that's their goal is to clean it up, is to protect these black and brown people that live there, these victims. So what is she talking about?
There was an article, I think back in 2024, 2015, 2016. There was an article written when the Democrats still had power and a modicum of good sense. Someone wrote an article. There was a leak of his email to someone who worked at Breitbart. Okay. And Stephen Miller, I'm speaking of. So in that email, he referenced a book that is popular with the neo-Nazi set and other people about non-white people taking over Europe. Right. And then he made some other comments about a website that said, hey, you should check this website out, whatever. But that is in no way making him a white supremacist. Listen, I have lots of very, very smart friends. Delano Squires is one of my dearest friends. I send him stuff all the time. And because I read books about black people doesn't make me, a black supremacist. They made a long jump because he was too close to Trump. He was Trump's senior advisor at that point in time. And they wanted something, anything they hang their hat on. You folks know this. Democrats call you racist. If they don't like you, the first thing you are racist.
And now they're using the white supremacist.
And listen, and if they really, really don't like you, then you get to be a white supremacist. And if they really, really hate you, you get to be Hitler, a Nazi. Fascist. You get to be all these ists. In the meantime, this man is serving his country with distinction. This woman is an absolute pariah. She should not have any part of a public forum. She most assuredly should not be on TV espousing these views. But as long as CNN continues to do that, it's going to keep going in the toilet.
That's why you all have to get us to 200K and above so that we can definitely get on the panel. I would love to be sitting beside Tiffany Cross.
200,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I want to be sitting beside Tiffany Cross. What's the other one name? Sunny Hostin.
Oh, Sunny Hostin.
Yeah, Abby is whatever. Abby's like a little whatever. I want to be sitting next to Tiffany Cross, Abby, whatever her name is, and even that damn Joy.
Yeah. Folks, you guys sound off in the chat. I know we got a ton of super chats here. We want to talk and get them. But before we do, I just want to say this. Don't be afraid to call these people out. I mean, no matter your skin color, your ethnicity, it is wrong what they are doing. Right. It is wrong what they are saying. They are divisive. They do not love this country. And we need to call them out. If you are black, you're Black American, this is not helpful to our community. It's not. Whether you agree or disagree with people, honest debate, respectful debate is good for us.
It's robust.
Exactly.
We have to have
and
robust
she
debate.
failed to do that. She
Right.
just discounted
Right.
his opinion just because
he's
of
a white
the
man.
color of his skin.
Well,
That's
that's
it.
what the Democrat Party does.
Right.
You don't get to have a dissenting opinion. They have a checklist. You have to be willing to kill a baby, even in the perinatal period after the baby's been born. You got 28 days to starve that child to death. You have to be willing to chop off a penis, sew up a vagina, slap some boobs on a boy. You have to rock with them on every single point, or you're simply not good enough.
Yeah.
Right.
You have
You're
to be
simply
insane.
not good enough.
You have to be insane.
You've got to drink the Kool-Aid and a whole lot of it.
The old
That's
school
ridiculous.
blue dog Democrats, they are very few and far between.
They're hiding.
Yeah,
They are absolutely hiding.
Those are the old school ones you might have a legitimate debate about, like you said, a sensible, reasonable debate. You still might not agree. You might agree 80-20, whatever. But those people are few and far between right now. What we get are the Tiffany Crosses, these vapid, rabid, vicious, vile women, condescending, just because that may. I'm telling you, I wish even just for my own thrill seeking, I wish he had just said something to her, and that would have been the news 24/7 cycle.
course.
That would have been.
Well, if he would have said, go back to what you said, even the blue dog Democrats, then a portion of those have TDS.
Yeah.
You can't talk to them because they're so obsessed with Trump, and they you can't even talk to them. Some of them.
I'm gonna tell you, their emails get filled up. So, as an operative, I keep my eye on what everybody's doing, so I know how to move. But they send out fundraising email after fundraising email. Look at this, look at this, look at
Yeah,
this.
they do.
But last quarter, they raised about 13. We raised 85.
All right.
Right. We raised 85. So the pendulum is swinging back in the other direction. What's going to have to happen, though, is that these people who, like Tiffany, have made a living.
Exactly.
As she sits there and claims every single victimhood she could find, she's making a living peddling this damn trash.
Yeah. Yep.
On the front lines of D.C. where? She's probably never left Georgetown.
No.
Probably wouldn't know how to get anywhere else in the district. You don't get to be the lone voice of a group of people who are celebrating that they can walk around in the street.
Exactly.
When we went for the inauguration, people had their butts on their back because the Proud Boys were out there protecting us as we got off the metro. Can I tell you, we needed the Proud Boys out there to protect us when we got off that metro. There were people trying to bathe in the fountain. There were homeless people sitting on the sidewalk. I mean, it was just crazy.
The whole place used to smell like pee. I don't know how it smells today, but
I don't know. Trump said he was going to give it a shower and pave the roads over.
It needs to, because when you get out your car, it's not wet or anything, but you still smell urine in the streets. Same as Baltimore City.
Yeah.
So, folks, sound off in the chat. Tell us what you think. I want to get to your super chats. All right, Kung Fu CJ says, "Let's go, Brandon. He's about to lose in a landslide."
Thank you, Lord.
Yes.
I hope so too. From
All
your
right.
mouth to God's ears.
Daniel Rand Rodriguez,
Hi,
thanks for
Daniel.
what you do. Thank you
Thank you,
much.
Daniel.
Kung Fu CJ, these people will blame Trump for everything to stay in office.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Frank Fontina says criminals only feel safe when they know they can get away with crime. This is not rocket science.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Boots on the ground makes a difference. It really does.
Kung Fu CJ, she's making my PTSD flare up.
I know that's right.
Tiffany Cross. Brown Eyes.
Hey, Brown Eyes.
Miller should sue her. She should put a target on his back. They will lie to get their point across.
Absolutely.
Right? Diane, they invalidate their argument with race bait.
Absolutely. Every single time.
Yes.
Every single time. And I think at this point, the word racist has lost its visceral
absolutely.
power.
Absolutely.
Because you can be a racist for anything.
Right.
You didn't cross at the corner. You're a racist. You should have walked between the white lines. What
That's
the hell
why
are you
I say,
doing? It's
call me
ridiculous.
racist. I'll wear it
We
proudly.
shouldn't. That's why we shouldn't care.
Yeah,
We shouldn't
I'll wear it
care.
proudly.
And even if you are, white, black, blue, purple, you shouldn't care.
Nope.
You shouldn't care.
Check
Let them
the
call
source.
you the name.
Check the
This is what
source.
they want to do anyway. Exactly. All right. So moving right along, last topic of the night. This one may be controversial, so I want to get right into it. Trump's flag burning executive order. So Trump just signed an executive order about making flag burning a crime. I'm not sure if it's a crime, but basically a new federal crime. So take a look. This is clip 2.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning. It charges your attorney general.
Would you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech. But there's another reason, which is perhaps much more important. It's called death. Because what happens when you burn a flag is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy. You could do other things. You can burn this piece of paper. You can, but when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways. There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. Do you want to discuss that?
Sure. So what the executive order does, sir, it charges your Department of Justice with investigating instances of flag burning, and then where there's evidence of criminal activity, where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment, and instructs the Department of Justice to prosecute those who are engaged in these instances of flag burning.
Mr. President, that we can pass a law that criminalizes flag burning and desecration. I agree that this burning, this desecration that can happen to our flag is something that people have a right to ask this body to try to prohibit and prevent.
All right, so the left is going crazy over this executive order. And so we wanted to show that video of Hillary Clinton talking about criminalizing flag burning, because they're acting as if no one on the left has ever posited this, but they have. Now, want to make some different clarification. The executive order doesn't create a brand new federal law. It doesn't mandate a 1-year sentence. Instead, it directs the Department of Justice to enforce existing laws whenever flag desecration overlaps with real crimes. So I want to get your thoughts on this, Shelley. Do you agree or disagree with cracking down on this?
Okay, so first of all, you just made some of the points that I was going to make. Number one, yes, I am for free speech absolutist. Number one, if you buy a flag, you can burn it because it's your property. I'm okay with that. I don't agree with flag burning, or I wouldn't support just to burn the flag for America's sake, but I do support if you buy it, you can burn it. Burning someone else's property, destroying other flags in, around this country or whatever, no, that's a crime. The key to this executive order, number one, is not a law. No executive orders are laws. They are executive orders. Our Congress, again, who I harp on a lot, keeps failing in their duties of what they're supposed to be doing. But nevertheless, it's not a law. It is to investigate anything with flag burning or that would incite riots or, like you mentioned, other criminal activity. So I'm not necessarily too, up in the roar about this per se. However, I will say the free speech part of it, I'm always going to stand there. Free speech. If you buy a flag, if you take your money and you buy a flag, you get to burn it. I wouldn't support it. I don't like it. I mean, I would think you are anti-American, of course, but that's your free speech right. And we also have some Supreme Court rulings that also have said that. 1989, Texas versus Johnson. I think 1990, United States versus Eichmann, and some other local, state, other statutes, I guess, across the country. So yes, free speech, absolutely. This is not creating a law, although many people will see executive orders as doing such as far as in action, but it really doesn't. Our Congress is where legislative powers lie, and they have grossly failed in their duties.
Yeah. So Nicole, there is one caveat that this executive order does add. It hits foreign nationals who desecrate the flag by revoking visas, blocking naturalization, or deporting them under existing immigration laws. So with all that in mind, what are your thoughts on this EO?
I'm good with it. I absolutely love the EO. I love, again, this is a part of that culture change that we're talking about, because very rarely is there a flag burning just because you bought a flag and you want to see some flames. It's usually in concert with rioting. It's usually in concert with some kind kind of physical or throwing of bricks, mashing cars, that kind of thing. There's never just an incident of somebody saying, well, I spent $50 on the flag, I'm just going to light it up and see the good thing. This just reminds prosecutors that this is something that they should be charging. This is something that should be added on when they're arrested for rioting, when they're arrested for throwing bricks over top of a bridge at a quote unquote mostly peaceful get together in downtown Los Angeles. But if you're burning our flag and you're a foreign national, you got to get the hell out of here.
Or don't even come here.
First, no. Let me tell you, you burn a flag here in the United States. I don't care if you're a green card holder.
Exactly.
You should be removed immediately. There should not be any debate. We talked about this online, offline, about what it means to really have an affinity for our nation.
Absolutely.
To be a person who was born and raised somewhere else. Absolutely. And came here free will, free volition. Absolutely. You chose to be an American, naturalized American person. You still have an affinity for your homeland, and it shows, and you don't really see it, but people who are native born Americans do see that you're connected to your homeland in a way that we're connected to America.
Exactly.
So I don't want you here if you don't love being here. We're not going to force greatness on you. You can go back to mediocre. It's waiting on you. But if you're going to be here, you're going to have to play by the rules. And it's about time the State Department starts doing that.
Yeah. I mean, folks, they've been prosecuting people for desecrating the pride flag. So you can face jail time in America for desecrating an LGBTQ plus pride flag. But it depends on the circumstances and jurisdiction.
Right.
So there's an example in Iowa. Adolfo Martinez was sentenced to 16 years in prison in 2019 for burning a pride flag stolen from a church. He was convicted of a hate crime, arson, third-degree harassment, and reckless use of fire, with his sentence extended due to his status as a habitual offender. Also, this year in Atlanta, 4 individuals were arrested for slashing pride flags at a rainbow crosswalk, facing charges like criminal damage to property, potential hate crime enhancements, which could add 6 to 12 months for misdemeanors or 2 to 12 years for felonies under Georgia's 2020 hate crime. So they're doing it already with pride flags. And who gives a damn about a pride flag? I certainly don't.
Right. I mean, when you look at it again, when we talk about values,
right,
what do the people who govern us, what do they value? And they're saying with these charges, they value that pride flag, but they don't have any love for the stars and stripes. That's a problem.
It is.
That's a problem.
Folks, sound off in the chat. What do you think? Should this EO go forward? Do you agree with this executive order about President Trump cracking down on the desecration of our flag, or are you against it? Sound off. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We always go through the comments after the show, so definitely sound off in the chat. We have some super chats here. I think we do. Let's see here. All right, Chadwick says, hey, ladies, what are your thoughts on Cook getting fired? Thank you so much, Chadwick. Shelley.
Look, I'm sick of these people, again, all these people in these high positions, if you will. They steal our money. They steal on mortgages. This is a mortgage, whatever. What do you call it?
Mortgage fraud.
Yeah, she's supposed to be overseeing that,
governor.
Right?
Yeah.
And so again, these are allegations. I know Pulte has come out. He had a little 2-part page or whatever. These are allegations. She has not been charged, but President Trump has the right to remove her for cause, and the cause is that it doesn't appear that she's legitimately, signed off on mortgages and getting raped. How come if you or we buy a home or many homes, when we do our taxes, we have to declare one of them as our primary home, right? If we declare others, we can be prosecuted. Why the hell are these jokers can't be? Why do they get away with it? Letitia Big James, whatever her name is, Big Fish. This woman, Cook. You got Marilyn Mosby. Adam, what's his name? Shiftless, whatever. These people, they get away with it, and they have been doing it for years. Again, allegedly, I will say, for legal purposes, allegedly. But we're sick of it. Get her off the board. Give the people back their money, or at least the credibility of you not not saying America's mortgages have to be this high while you skimming the other side and getting 2 and 3 of them for below market rate.
Wow, we have some additional super chatters here. Thank you. All right, Tijuana border jumper.
Woo-hoo.
All right, sis.
That's the point right
it
there.
might be included as a freedom of speech, igniting anything in
the
public should require a permit.
Yes.
And flag burning permits $20,000.
That's the point right there. The ignition of the.
I mean, 20,000. You know, I love me some Tijuana border jumper. 20,000 is a little low. I think we should go full 50.
All right.
That's the point. That's how they're going to
Yeah.
get them, because they're igniting something. And that's the
Absolutely.
right.
Absolutely.
All right, folks. So sound off in the chat. Keep it coming. We love your chats, especially your super chats. We're getting close to the end of the month, so your super chats really go a long way in keeping us online. And we appreciate the support, folks. You guys,
For sure.
we're building a community here, and we're so thankful for each and every one of you. Also, our moderators who are on here every night, every time we go live. Thank you so much. And the super chats and everyone in the Pop and Politics community. We appreciate you. So we want to talk about next stories that need to pop. Stories, issues, topics that aren't getting the coverage they deserve. Want to start off with you, Shelley. What story do you believe isn't being covered, and why should people pay attention?
Okay, so I don't know if this is a story. I didn't see a particular story, but this is something that I've been thinking about. Maybe it might, form out. I think that there is this swelling, or a movement, if you will, that's starting to swell, where people are focused on being American, not necessarily Republican or Democrat, left, right. I think this idea, thanks again, largely to President Trump, America first. I'm just thinking, maybe beginning of it, that parties are going to get less and less important. Maybe only around certain issues, yes, but the parties are going to be less and less important as far as a description or a title of wherever you may stand. America first, and being an American. And I'm going to shameless plug for myself. I have to admit, I have been saying this for years.
Yeah.
I'm an American, human American. I remember when I first started saying that, people would laugh at me. People were like, "Oh, you crazy? You don't want to be black." Or years I've been saying, so it's not new to me. I think, but thanks to President Trump, give credit where credit is due. I think I'm just seeing little hints that it's going to branch out even more.
All right. Nicole, what story needs to pop? Where do people need to look into or know about that we don't know about?
Listen, RFKJ is doing this thing. I'm not even going to talk about him and SecDef with their little workout and everybody's trying to do their push-ups and pull-ups and doing all their thing. But he's saying in September, he's really going to tackle autism and the foundational causes of autism. So I'm very interested to hear what he has to say. And I think he's got enough support now, since he's kind of cleaned house. He has enough support now to have an honest conversation without lobbyists telling him what to say. This is going to be very, very interesting. Debate is going to rage, so everybody should be watching. Whether you're a parent, a grandparent, or you don't even know kids, it's going to be well worth the fight. It is going to be the biggest story that drops in September.
Wow. Yep. I agree. I agree there. I agree. For me, folks, tomorrow night at KJ Christian Conservative, we're digging into something powerful. Did you know the most repeated phrase in the Bible is "do not be afraid"?
Yep. Yeah.
It's repeated over 80 times. God tells his people to live without fear, because fear, as we said, makes you a slave. So here's the problem. The left thrives on fear. Whether it's climate hysteria, crime in our cities, COVID mandates, or identity politics, they breed chaos to keep people afraid. So that in panic, and so they trade freedom for government control. So what I want you to be aware of is we need, as people of faith, need to warn against this fear.
Absolutely.
How the left weaponizes it, and why faith not fear, is the only path to real freedom.
Yep.
We're going to break it down, why the left, how the left pushes this, and what we can do to push back against it. Tomorrow night on @KJ Christian Conservative, the YouTube channel there. Please go over, like, share, and subscribe there. Tomorrow night at 9 p.m. We're going to break it all down. All right.
A lot of people don't know that, but that is the most common.
Yes, it is.
It is. And listen, there's a reason for that, right? When you fear something, it becomes irrational in your mind and it takes over all of your thoughts. It's a contagion. And you see it from fearful parents giving the fear to their children, even to your animals. You know, when adults or when people are afraid that especially a dog looks at you like, what's coming toward me? It is not biblical. Right. And it makes you physically ill. Fear makes you sick.
Right. It can make you ill.
And the Bible and God warned us about this. Why did he do that? And why are we seeing the left weaponize this? It's done for a reason. It is an agenda. But God has already prepared us for this, folks. And a lot of us are falling in the trap. We got to wake up. We got to remember what God said.
It's interesting. Like you said, a lot of people, and again, I'm not saying this to denigrate anybody. A lot of people think, oh, God is love. That's the most common. It's not. Do not fear has been
because he knew what it was. You know what I mean? Living in a fleshy body in a fleshy world, people use fear, as you said, to hold you down, to keep you in your place. Fear stops people from stepping out on faith and doing greater things. You know, it is.
And for standing up against truth.
And freedom, right?
Freedom, right.
When you don't seek to be as free as humanly possible, because being free is scary when you've been dependent. When you've been dependent, especially people who are transitioning from federal housing, food stamps, all of those kind of things, you see them melting down all over TikTok and all over YouTube. When you see that fear strike on their face, what am I going to do? Listen, millions of people do this thing. It's called work. Right? And you fake it until you make it. And you eat ramen until you can afford hot dogs. Then you can afford steakums. And before you know it, you'll be sitting at a fancy restaurant talking about, I remember when I was afraid to try. But you have to try. That is a part of freedom.
Fear is stifling. And well, you will talk about tomorrow too. But fear is stifling. And like you said, it can make you sick. One of the things about fear is that not it stifles you, but it also immobilizes you, right? So that you won't
irrational.
So that you won't even try because you're afraid of failure, afraid of this, all these, and then it compounds. It compounds. So
and it keeps you in your place,
right?
And that's why the Democrats are using it.
It
keeps you locked in your place.
Gotten it hook, line, and sinker, and unfortunately, a lot of people are falling for it, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow on @KJ Christian Conservative YouTube. Follow us on there. All right, we got a ton of super chats. So thank you all so much.
We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
More.
Yes, indeed. Giacomo Knox.
I like that.
Thank you.
Beautiful name.
I like that.
Says, I'm dying to see you ladies on The Bad View, finally pulling silly Sunny down from her pedestal. Black conservatives rise up.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
yes, sir.
Thank you.
Tijuana. Thank you, Tijuana Border Jumper. Thank you.
For the lady in red and those surrounding.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. You know, we were talking about Black conservatives, and I would be remiss if I did not answer the person in the chat who asked what we thought about Winsome Sears and Abigail Spanberger's
I didn't see that.
For governor of Virginia. You know, I am a Winsome Sears fan. I have always been a fan of Lieutenant Governor Sears. Prayerfully governor to be, but you guys saw that sign, right? The sign that very liberal,
black, no blacks at my fountain, something like that,
right? So it was like
if you
no trans in the locker room,
another trans person,
yes, and again, this is a value statement. What Democrats value? There was a video of a Democrat leader whispering to the woman who was holding the sign, saying, "Hey, that sign's getting a lot of play," and she's like, "Yeah, I know." So no. It's negative. Right. You may not want to use the sign. She still used the sign. And Abigail Spanberger has been slow with a response. But Winsome Sears has hit the nail on the head. She doesn't want this crap in school. She doesn't want around children. And she's standing on business. So if you're in the great state of Virginia and you're on the bubble about voting, Winsome Sears is the safe bet. She is the one, like I said before, who's going to carry our values to her job and stand on it.
Yeah.
That is what we need.
All right. Absolutely, Nicole. 100% agree. Folks, that does it for us tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. Do we have any more? Did we get everybody, all the super chats?
I hope so. I think we got everybody.
All right. We really appreciate. Oh, Michelle. I think I saw Michelle.
Michelle, thank you,
Michelle, the $5. Michelle is my co-host. Her and I do Christian Conservative on Thursdays, 9 p.m. She is amazing. Yes. Amazing. Michelle Talkington. Thank you so much. All right, Diane says, fear knocks at the door. Faith answers. No,
got it.
I know that's right, Diane.
Yes,
I know that's
indeed.
right.
Oh, that's perfect. All right, folks. Well, that does it for us. Again, we have Christian Conservative tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Then on Saturday, we have Just the Guys podcast at 6:30. Check them out. They give you a male perspective point of view on pop culture and politics. And then on Tuesdays, we have the All American Talk Show at All American Talk. All right, you can find them all there. We will post each of the links for you. And again, if you haven't done so already, check out our merch store. You can get all types of mugs, t-shirts. It's a great way to support the channel as well.
Unapologetically American.
Are we going to say we're not Friday and Monday? We'll let them know.
Yeah. And so we will be out, folks. We will be back on Wednesday, actually, of next week. Right. So good thing. Good talk,
but
Kelly.
even though we're not on live, please go to the channel, look at the replays, buy your merchandise. It's Labor Day. Reward yourself for all of your hard labor.
That's right.
And hit that like, share, and subscribe. We want 200K. When we look at the channel on Monday, which is the first, right?
Yes.
When we look at the channel, we want to see 205K.
Listen, we got some champagne in the fridge just waiting to pop.
Yeah,
waiting to pop.
We need you guys. Please share this broadcast and subscribe. We are building a community here. We're building a family of patriots, of warriors, of truth seekers. And so we really need your help. Thank you so much. We got one more super chat. Jessica says, need advice on how to get through my friend's funeral on Saturday.
Oh, wow. What I would say, Jessica, is there's no advice to give. You attend the funeral, you grieve, you're there with his family, and you'll grieve some more and have some good memories. That's what I can just say. I hope you have a lot of good memories. And I mean, there's no 1, 2, 3 checklist. It's just something that, unfortunately, you go through.
We all go through a grieving process. As someone who's lost a lot of people who are close to me, if you don't allow yourself the opportunity to grieve in the moment, it festers inside of you. So give yourself the opportunity to speak about all the wonderful things. And when the tears come, let them come.
That's it.
Just let them come. Pray. When you feel like it's more than you can handle, seek the face of God and he'll hold you.
Yes, indeed. That's what I was going to say. Because there's nothing like God's Holy Spirit that gives you comfort when you most need it. And I've been there, I still cry after my mom passed away.
Listen, we went on a whole cruise to celebrate my dad's life a year after he passed away. My IG handle is Sporty's Girl Nick, right? And I meet people who watch Pop and Politics like, you love you some Sporty. He must really like you. I was like, it was my dad, And it's hard because he was such a big part of my life. But rather than focus on the loss at this point of my grieving process, I'm focusing on all of the love that he left behind. Right. The one thing that survives death in this world is love. Yeah. So his love for you has never changed, and it never will. So
maybe we should talk about this one time. I mean, I don't know, like a little segment, because I think
grief and grieving.
Grief and grieving. Again, Jessica, there's no prescription, if you will, for how you grieve or when you cry or don't cry. It's not like that. And then there are going to be quiet times in those moments. Prayer is a salve, if you will. Prayer is necessary, and sometimes to just be. You have to be in the grief. Maybe none of us want to do it. Of course, we don't definitely want to look forward to doing it. But being in it and then going through it, different experiences, if you will, and you come out of it, quote unquote, with a different perspective. Not that you don't love the person, not that you don't have memories, not that you don't miss him or her, but you just come out a little different, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I will still say you don't want to stay in it too long.
That's right.
It shouldn't be, yes, you remember the person who passed. The Bible talks about there's a time, there's a season for all of this. And, every now and then, like I said, I do sometimes, I'm thinking about my mom and, I may start crying, but it's just for a small period of time. I'm not stuck in there for days, for weeks and things like that. You don't want to do that because, we're still living. We're still living. Right. And so you just remember the person and you take your time to grieve and then you move on because as my mom used to say, and forward we go.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you all so much. Until next time.
We got more.
D's.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, LJ, you ladies need a moderator. There are some truly vile trolls. We do have
We've
moderators.
got great mods.
We have moderators. They do a great job. Just let the trolls are going to be trolls. Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? They're going to be who they are. That's who they are. That's all they know. At least you can say, quote unquote, maybe they're being true to themselves.
Well, the good news is, and I keep reminding them of this, the more you chat in our chat, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good look.
Thank you.
If they really did not like the show or the people or our opinions, they would log on to something else. But
they really love us.
Yeah, they really do. Really, really do. Somewhere they've got that Bennett to Win It sticker stuck on the back of their car.
Trolls be trolling.
Yeah. And it is what it is. But we do have some moderators, and when they get pretty fed up with them, they know what to do. They got it.
So to the trolls, this one's for you. Good night.